Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this serving board using a piece of quilted maple and some epoxy. So enjoy the video. Picked up this piece of maple on Etsy. It's about 20 inches long and 12 inches wide. As you can see, it's a little wobbly, so we got to take care of that. So I got one side flattened with the router. As you can see, it's pretty flat. The bottom hasn't been done yet, so that's still wobbly. But the side that has been done, face down, there's no more wobbling. It's now flat. So I'm just gonna do that again to this side, and then we'll be ready to move forward. All right, now I have both sides flattened, and as you can see, the router left all these lines. So I'm gonna sand off those lines and then get started with some burning. So now I've got all those lines from the router bit sanded down to where you can hardly see them. You can see them a little bit, but at this point, I've got rid of it enough to do what I need to do. I'm gonna start burning this, and then we can put some epoxy in it. This piece is burnt up pretty good. I might get a little bit more in this spot, this area, but for the most part, most of the burning is done. And I'm gonna just take my wire brush and clean all that out, and it should look pretty clean after that. We'll see how deep they are. Alright y'all, so as you can see, I got my piece cleaned up, sanded, and I think it looks pretty cool. But first, before we do that, I have to flip it over, and there's some cracks here, and I'm gonna just take my hot glue gun and block those off so that no epoxy can leak through, and then we'll be able to start pouring some on the top. I'm not sure that they would have even leaked at all to begin with. I don't know if they go all the way through or not, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Brought the piece back over to my work spot, and I'm just gonna make sure that we are level. Looks like we're good. I'm gonna be using Amazing KwoodKast. The mix ratio is just 1:1 by volume on this. Stuff is great for casting and top coat. I got my epoxy mixed up right here, and I'm just gonna take some pigment, take a scoop like that, maybe a few more just to make it really thick. Definitely should be enough, so I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that up. As you can see, I got all the burns filled up with that epoxy, and the way that that color pops on top of this wood is just amazing. And as you guys know, the next step is to just let this thing cure overnight. It's now the next day and the epoxy is all cured. So now I just need to take this thing out to my shop, get it sanded. I'm also gonna trim up the edges with my table saw. Alright, I got all the excess epoxy sanded off, and as you probably noticed, there are some low spots in the burns because the epoxy shrunk, which is pretty normal. That's what it does when it cures. And so in the event that I were gonna apply a oil finish on top of this, I would want to bring these low spots up and put more blue epoxy. But being that I'm going to flood coat this with top coat epoxy, these won't even be noticeable. There will be no way to tell that they're even there after the finish is applied. So next, what I'm gonna do is just trim up the edges on my table saw, maybe sand the edges up a little bit more, and then we'll be able to get it inside and apply the first coat of top coat epoxy. Alright, I got the edges trimmed up. I also went over the corners with some sandpaper so that they weren't so sharp. And now I'm just waiting for that little bit of water right here to dry up. So I took a wet paper towel and cleaned up all the dust off of it. And after that water dries up, we're gonna mix up some more epoxy. Pretty much the same stuff that we used here, just without the pigment. So now I got that first layer of top coat applied, and just wow. So I'm gonna let this cure overnight, and then I'm probably just gonna sand it up tomorrow and add a second layer, and that'll make it look even better. All right, it's the next day now, and the first layer of top coat epoxy is cured, and I am really, really happy with the way this looks. But I'm gonna make it even better. I'm gonna take it out back and put some 220 grit sandpaper on my sander, and then I'll bring it back inside and add another layer. So I've got my piece cleaned up now, and you can see that it looks pretty cloudy, but when we pour that next coat on there, it's gonna clean right up. Alright guys, so that second layer of top coat is now on there, and this project is pretty much done. I'm probably just going to add some little feet on the bottom of this thing, but other than that it's done. I'm going to let that cure and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. As you can see there, I added some legs. They're made out of rubber and they just screw in. It's really nice for keeping it from sliding around or scratching any surfaces. But yeah, we're all done. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. I really appreciate you guys watching.